So as Satish mentioned, I'm going to showcase a demo of watsonx Assistant, and you're going to see how watsonx comes to life within our existing applications. So what you're seeing here is my custom UI with my web chat widget sitting at the bottom right corner of the screen. This was seamlessly integrated, and one of the great things about watsonx Assistant is that it's a very low to no code environment, right? Making it accessible for anyone to easily deploy onto their website or intranet site, for example. So this is a fictional character that I've created called Sarah. And let's say that she's grappling with a few challenges in her day-to-day work. That could be the time-consuming nature of her tasks, ranging from complex projects to mundane administrative duties. Ultimately, this really hampers her productivity. And so now she's going to use the conversational assistant, leveraging the Gen AI capabilities to really expedite these challenging processes. So we're going to start off with using traditional AI, right? So this is not Gen AI yet. This is what Assistant has always been able to do, right? So going in and really solving those kind of short tail queries, right? And when I say short tail queries, these are common questions that are quite easy to solve that anyone could ask, right? For example, I forgot my password, etc., etc. Now, one thing I could also do is say, where can I find the latest news? And I can find the latest company news and announcements here. And by the way, just to reiterate, what you're seeing here is still all traditional AI, so pre-trained answers that I've gone in, right? So I'm looking at this article that it's pointed me to, but now here's where we get into the challenges, right? Because Sarah's really busy and she doesn't have time to sift through all of this and read it all, right? And so what she's going to say is, well, okay, I've had a quick skim of that, but I just want to know what is the purpose of the IBM and GSMA collab, right? I don't want to read all of that. I just want to find out quickly. So now she's going to enhance the standard watsonx Assistant by carrying out an AI-powered conversational search. And you can see that I've got my concise summary, more personalized and contextualized, saving me time and effort. So now I don't have to no longer go through that article and read it. I can see it in a matter of seconds and get everything I need to.
So did the platform do that through RAG or?
Exactly. Okay. So this is using the method RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. So it's watsonx Assistant, Watson Discovery, which is used as a knowledge base, and then watsonx as the API that we're calling out to. And the language model that we're using here is Llama 2, so Meta's LLM model.
So was watsonx able to do that with that particular press release because it was on your website and it had already looked at it through RAG?
Exactly.
Could it do it with a different press release from somebody else?
Yeah, exactly. So this could be a press release from someone else. This could be a PDF. So in this case, like you said, it was a web crawl, but this could be PDFs. It could be any format, right? It doesn't really matter. The whole point is that we can ingest that into the knowledge base, and that could be any kind of vector store as well.
So when you're ingesting it, what's the process? It can bring in an HTML, it can bring in a PDF.
Exactly.
You just have to point it to that.
To a source.
Okay.
And then once it points to a source, all you need to do is connect that to the API.
Yeah.
And then now we have that more contextualized, personalized response, as opposed to those kind of traditional responses where they're quite static. Now it's much more humanized.
And you were talking about conversational. Is the platform able to do multimodal inputs, or is it text to text, or can you put a layer on top of it with an NLP maybe and be able to do like voice queries and then have the system do the text?
Yeah, so we can interact with the assistant via voice as well.
Okay.
And so the same way that you've seen this flow being handled via text, we can actually take this conversation, mimic it, and do everything here through voice as well, using our speech capabilities, speech to text and text to speech.
Okay. Yeah. The last question on the RAG, is it just text-based sources, or can you start bringing in other documents that have maybe images in it to start, to understand what the context of the images are?
I definitely see that in the future, for sure, in terms of the art of the possible. For now, this is kind of what we're focused on. But in terms of those capabilities, for sure, I think that will definitely be something that we'll bring in. So
great. Okay. And was there any other things you wanted to show?
There are some other capabilities of the assistant, but that's going back to using that traditional AI, because I think it's quite important to adopt a kind of hybrid approach, right? You don't need to use generative AI for everything. So you saw in the beginning, she's using what we call short tail queries. So me just going into the assistant and answering those pre-trained questions, but then sometimes leveraging the LLM to fall back on when perhaps, it's quite a complex query that the assistant hasn't been trained on.
Yeah, I think that's actually really important. It's very unique too, being able to do both of that, because you want to use the best tool for
Exactly.
the job. Especially for resources and not using up capacity of your servers and so forth.
And it's a great way for people to get started as well, because going from just using traditional AI to then everything now is Gen AI, it's quite hard to adopt. So if you slowly start integrating it into
Yeah.
your day-to-day workflow, then it's a lot easier, and then you can start using more Gen AI for different things. But in this case, you can see that we're just using it to get this quick summary, and then I can go back to doing my typical day-to-day tasks within the assistant. So
Perfect. Well, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
thank you.